is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman. Mama rubbing her
Go to work, that we create spaces that feel loving and supportive. And I'm a certified social emotional intelligence coach. So I'm all about helping us connect, helping us make sure that we're building relationships with ourselves so that we can empower others. So thank you for going on this journey with me today. We're just going to do some soft belly breathing, and we're going to do some guided imagery and an opportunity to just be present in the moment, to allow ourselves to calm and ground ourselves so that we can engage in all of the amazing conversations and activities that are planned for today. Raise your hand if you've ever done meditation before. Raise your hand if you've ever done imagery before. Raise your hand if you just have an imagination. So I'm going to tell you a little secret about imagery. If you have an imagination, you are already an imagery master. You just got to practice a little bit. So we're going to get some practice in. So if everyone can find a comfortable space, you can close your eyes or you can find a soft gaze. And as we go through soft belly, I want you to continue as we breathe, and I'll explain what's happening in our bodies. So if you can find a comfortable space and just breathe in through your nose and out through your mouths. In through your nose and out through your mouths. With every inhale, allow your belly to be filled. And with every exhale, allow your belly to flatten. As thoughts come, let them come. Acknowledge them and return your attention back to your breath. In through your nose and out through your mouth. As your belly expands, it allows more air to get to the bottom of your lungs, and that improves our oxygen exchange as you breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. You know, oxygen feeds all of the cells in our body. And with every inhale and allowing our belly to be soft, we are activating our vagus nerve in through our nose, out through our mouths. Allowing our vagus nerve to travel from the bottom of our belly, up through our chest, into our central nervous system and into our brain. The vagus nerve calms our blood pressure, lowers our heart rate, relaxes our muscles, and allows us to disengage our fight and flight response, otherwise known as our stress response. Breathing in through our nose and out through our mouths. Now slowly allow your mind to find a safe space. Imagine a place where you feel comfortable, you feel safe. It can be a place that you've been to, a place in your imagination, or a place at home. If several places come to mind, settle on one place and get comfortable there. Allowing your mind to find a place that is your safe space. Now experience this space with all of your senses. What does this space smell like? What are the sounds of this safe space? Feel the air on your skin, the ground on your feet. What do you taste? What do you see? Pay attention to the temperature, what time of year it is. How old are you? Are there any other individuals in this space or anything in this space? Or is it just you? Now take a moment and look around to see if there's anything that you would like to remove from this space or any person that would make it safer, or anything that you want to bring into this space that makes it feel more comfortable and more safe. As you experience this safe space, feel how this feels for your body. Where do you feel this comfort and the safety in your body? Allow yourselves to take those deep breaths and experience the safe space all around you. Now slowly return your attention back to our current space. Take a few more deep breaths as you return to the present. Open your eyes. And I invite you to share the feeling that you're feeling right now and what it was like going into your safe space. Is there anyone that's willing to share about their safe space?
The beach is always my favorite space. So I imagine myself just standing on the beach, and as I breathe in, the water comes closer to me, and as I breathe out, the water goes. So anything that I want to come to me is here and it's on its way, and anything I don't want goes and it removes itself. I release it.
Beautiful, beautiful. So she shared, for her imagery, she was at the beach and she was bringing in the waters of all the things that she wanted to bring to her, and with the waters going away from her, releasing those things with which she was choosing to release. Thank you so much for sharing. Is there anyone else that would like to share how it felt to breathe?
I went to Haiti. Same thing, beach, oceans, mountains, and I was alone. I wasn't having anyone, but I was happy to be there alone. It felt relaxing, for sure.
Awesome,
I
awesome.
feel here.
We were in the mountains of Haiti and the beaches, feeling present. Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
I was just going back to like my earlier trip to Polk County because I was there for a project and everything, and it was like a new city, new town. Like I'm from the city, so like this is like very rural. So like it was like a very new experience, but being by myself for like 2 months, isolated, like no family, no one. It was still very peaceful. It was just such a vibe. So that was like the time I was going back to.
Thank you. Thank you. Traveling back to some spaces in our lives that were really eye-opening experiences. Absolutely. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. So the beauty of soft belly breathing is that it allows us to be present, and we can do it anytime, anywhere. But as I explained while we were doing it, there's so many things that are happening in our body when we do soft belly breathing that it really allows us to disengage our stress response, because naturally our body, when we are in high stress, reacts in a fight or flight mode. And when we engage in soft belly breathing, that's our opportunity to disengage that fight or flight response and to really just be present and to land ourselves in the present moment. And then the imagery is beautiful because all of us have a safe space. But if we don't take the time to find our safe space when we need it, we can't get there. So for those times that we are stressed, those times that we are in a tumultuous space in our life, it's in our hearts. It's in our unconscious. And the more that we do it when we don't need it, the easier it is for us to access it when we need it. So think about those times that you're right on the cliff. You're like, oh, if somebody says one more thing to me, I'm right there. Today is not my day. But you have that safe space that you can just take a moment and revisit that beach in Haiti, or revisit the beach here, or Polk County, because we have that safe space within us and we can always access it. So I invite you to continue soft belly breathing, continue imagery, and I do different workshops and different techniques and tools via Zoom, and so feel free to follow me on Intentionality Wins IG, Facebook, or on LinkedIn. My next one is November 1st. So the first Monday of every month, I do a mind-body medicine technique similar to this. And then the third Monday of every month, I do kind of just an explanation about social emotional intelligence. And I just think there's so much power for us as a community when we can access our best selves and our higher selves. And so follow me on Intentionality Wins. Visit intentionalitywins.com so that you can continue to engage on this journey with me. And I thank you for engaging with me in our opening. And I'm so excited now that we are present, we are calm, we are in the moment, for us to have an opportunity to engage in some powerful conversations with Art Prevails Project and Darius providing us with this space for us to unite and to empower ourselves. And thank you for the journey that we are going to continue to go on with our Umoja Cypher today. Thank you guys so much.
All right, so we're all present. We've been to Haiti, to Polk County, to the beach, or wherever else you went. And now we're gonna allow an amazing artist to take us wherever she's gonna take us. So please, man, I'm gonna miss, hold on a second, let me pause. All right. No, I want to say it. I got this. All right. So, please allow Miss Inez Barlatier to take you on the journey. So please make some noise for Miss Inez Barlatier.
Thank you, Darius. Thank you, Darius, for everything you do, actually, for the community. Give it up for Darius. So I'm gonna share some original music. I'll be playing with my guitar and my looping pedal. The only thing with the pedal is that when I'm recording, it'll record everybody. So when I'm looping, we'll see. I just ask that you watch, but you can react once I'm in it. You'll know exactly when I'm in it. These are original music. I don't like to talk a lot, but just a gist. You're gonna hear songs about my mother, songs that I wrote after being in an abusive relationship, songs about Haiti, songs about love, and songs about being magic, which means being aligned with your higher self.
I'm so careful these days. No one's gonna hurt me that way again. I am over. I learned my lesson. No one's gonna hurt me that way again. I'm not giving more than I get. I'm not giving more than I get. Never again. I'm not giving more than I get. I'm not giving more than I've been thinking these days. What would happen if I forget? Same old story. You won't change, but you're not gonna hurt me that way again. I'm not giving more than I get. I'm not giving more than I get. Never again. I'm not giving more than I get. Giving more than I get.
Thank you. This song is called Bourgeois, and it's a song that I wrote when I was 12 years old. I went to a party with Hollywood B-listers, C-listers, whatever they were, and we were the only black people there. My father, my sister, and I, we were there to perform. And everyone looked at us like we didn't belong there. But after we performed, they were like, "Oh my God, you should be our friend. You should come to our house and do everything we're doing." And I was 12 years old thinking, funny how just being an artist can put you in places that you normally wouldn't be or want to be. So I wrote this song about bourgeois, about not selling myself to be accepted. La da 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 da, yeah yeah. La da 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 da, la da and ooh, la da da da.
Humble beginnings, check the two, check and to that T. Isn't it fitting for the greatest people in history? All the blue collar working hard and underpaid. New money, walking high on phony pride. Isn't it funny how much can change with dollar signs? A polished hustler claim that they can make me. And the bourgeois said to me, now we will get all the riches for ya. And easily I would dance like a dog for meat. They were bothered when they found out that a dollar can't chain me. No. Humble beginnings, yeah, taught me I don't need anyone. Humble beginnings, yeah. Many men fall, but many men won. Every warrior, oh, we just got to have it made, yeah. Well, and the bourgeois said to me, now we will get all the riches for ya. And and easily I would sing like a parakeet. They were bothered when they found out that a dollar can't cage me now. La di da 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 da, yeah yeah. La di da 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 da. We don't jump for the bourgeois. We don't jump for the bourgeoisie. No, we don't jump for the bourgeois. We don't jump for the bourgeoisie. No, we don't jump for the bourgeois. We don't jump for the bourgeoisie. Yeah, the bourgeois said to me, no, we will get all the riches for you, baby. And easily I would bathe in pools of green, yeah. And easily I would bathe in pools of green, yeah. And easily I would bathe in pools of green. They were bothered when they found out that a dollar can wash me. Thank you. I saw some confused faces. Let's do a sound check. Can you hear us? Can you hear it now? Okay.
One more time.
Oh, one more time? More? Okay. Thank you. All right. Now I'm going to sing a song that I wrote during the pandemic in 2020. We're thinking about life, thinking about death and life. So I wrote a song about what it would be if I got COVID and died. Like, what would my life amount to? I know it's morbid. I'm sorry, y'all. I know it's morbid. We went to Haiti, the beach. I'm sorry. But, yeah, I wrote a song about what would it be like if I literally passed away. What would my life amount to? So this song is called Glory. And what it really brought me to is just being grateful and accepting that as I am is as I am. And if I pass, then that's the beauty. I had a beautiful life still. So this song is called Glory. Should I leave this earth tomorrow as is? Would I be happy with how I live? May my last breath be met, ooh, like a salutation, and my heart filled with gratification,
'cause I've made my mistakes and I've had better days, but I am living proof that you can sustain any darkness in your life or any circumstance. You wouldn't believe what I've been through. Still here I am. This is how I live. This is my story. And to God I give all of the glory. This is how I live. This is my story. And to God I give all of the glory, all of the glory, yeah, all of the glory. Should I leave this earth tomorrow as is? What would it mean to you? Would I be missed? I know I'm not a saint, I've said I've had better days, but I'm still divine. Beyond the system, my own limitations, I give and receive love because I am not alone. Yes, I am not alone. This is how I live. This is my story. And to God I give all of the glory, yeah. This is how I live. This is my story. And to God I give all of the glory. This is how I live. This is my story. And to God I give all of the glory. This is how I live. This is my story. And to God I give all of the glory. All of the glory. Thank you. I'm sure that resonates.
That's right. Yes.
So that was actually my first Christian song. Well, not actually Christian, it's like Christian, gospel song. My first gospel song. Since I started playing music, people asking me, do you sing gospel? You sing gospel. You don't sing gospel? So that was my first one. But then prior to that, I wrote a song called Magic. When I tried to write a gospel song, I thought about what does God mean to me? And I thought about when I feel my higher self, when you feel your higher purpose like you were leading us to, this is what it feels. It feels like magic. I feel magical when I feel like a God, or I feel like when I'm with God. So this song is called Magic, and it's about that.
you deserve it. Be who you are. Once you know it and you own it, you go far. See, I am perfect, I am worth it, I am of God. I am of God. I am perfect, I am worth it, I am of God. Coming from a world of magic, you blue, yeah. With the fresh energy, you are feeling brand new. Coming from a world of magic, you blue, with the fresh energy, you are feeling brand new. Your mind is taken over by you again, and finally you will perceive your reality. Go manifest, you catalyst. Your mind is taken over by you again, and forget everything you were ever told. The sky is not your threshold now. Coming from a world of magic, you blue. You blue, with the fresh energy, you are feeling brand new. Because you are perfect, you deserve it, be who you are. Once you know it and you own it, you go far. See, I am perfect, I am worth it, I am of God. I am perfect, I am worth it, I am of God. Freedom is a mindset to wear now. Freedom is a mindset to wear now. Freedom is a mindset to wear now. Freedom is a mindset to wear. Freedom is a mindset away. Free-da-da-dum is a mindset away now. Free-da-da-dum is a mindset away. Free-da-da-dum is a mindset coming from a world of magic, magic. You've bloomed, you bloomed with the fresh energy. You are feeling brand new. Because you are perfect, you deserve it, be who you are. Once you know it and you own it, you go far. Say I am perfect, I am worth it, I am of God. I am perfect, I am worth it, I am of God. Magic, 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 magic. You are, 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 you are. Thank you. Thank you for dancing, beautiful dancer. You're welcome to dance anytime you want. This next song is called Mama's a Rock, and I wrote it for my mother. No surprise, this is my mom's favorite song. Even though she says, you should write music like Lionel Richie, you know, like, yeah. She's not like that, actually. She's like, Inez, why you don't write music like Lionel Richie? Mom.
Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock.
Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman.
Mama is a rock.
Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman. Mama rubbing her feet. Oh, how the days are long. But she will not stop, even if the work is hard. 'Cause Mama is a rock. Yeah, Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman.
Mama is a rock.
Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman.
Mama is a rock.
Mama is a rock woman, Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman, Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman, Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman, Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman, Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman, Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Work till her ankles ache to feed every baby that came from her sacred cave. Working a double for nothing, just to buy some bread that and peanuts butter is gonna keep them babies fed. She says if they need something, I have to provide it. I have to provide it. Yes, if they need something, you know I have to provide it. This is how I 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 provide it. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. She'll be working until she can't. Money can be clean and sexy, just as long the money's good to spend. She gives her all and her all the time. Mama will sacrifice, never giving up. Another woman is far too tough. She says if they need something, I have to provide it. I have to provide it. Yes, if they need something, you know I have to provide it. This is how I 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 provide it. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Oh, Mama is a rock woman. Mama rubbing her feet. Oh, how the days are long. But she will not stop, even if the work is hard. 'Cause Mama is a rock. Yeah, Mama is a rock. Mama keeps it rolling. Mama is a rolling rock. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock. Mama keeps it rolling. Mama is a rolling rock. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock. Mama keeps it rolling. Mama is a rolling. Mama Africa. Mama is a rock. Mama keeps it rolling. Mama is a rolling. Mama IT. Mama is a rock. Mama keeps it rolling. Mama is a rolling rock. Thank you.
I have more.
Whatever you want to do. One more?
One more?
Yeah.
More? Okay. Okay. This next song's about love. I thought let's start on a high note.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom 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 boom, boom boom boom, boom boom boom, boom boom boom, boom 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 boom
I woke up decided today is the day. I'm telling everything. All that I feel, and I know if it's real, you're gonna say the same, even though everybody tells me, oh, slow down your pace. You know it's not a race, and baby, know your place. And when the time is right, but then tell me why I'm feeling this way. I don't wanna wait. I don't wanna wait. I just wanna show you love. I know it's not simple, but you're the only one that I could ever dream of. Giving myself this way. Baby, don't play these games. I'm taking down all my walls. Don't let it be in vain. I know about the give and take, the value of the little things. Want to give my all, but not all at once. I love you cause you make me shine without dimming your light, and that's all I want. I just wanna show you, I just wanna show you love. I know it's not simple, but you're the only one that I could ever dream of. Giving myself this way. Baby, don't play these games. I'm taking down all my walls. Don't let it be in vain. I just wanna show you love. I know it's not simple, but you're the only one that I could ever dream of. Giving myself this way. Baby, don't play these games. I'm taking down all my walls. Don't let it be in vain. Show you love, simple God, one that I dream of. Self this way, play these games, on my walls, be in vain. Show you love, simple God, not simple God, one that I, but the only one that I. Self this way, play these games, on my walls, be in vain. I just wanna show you love, I know it's not simple, but you're the only one that I could ever dream of. Giving myself this way, play these games, I'm taking down all my walls, don't let it be in vain. I just wanna show you love, I know it's not simple, but you're the only one that I could ever dream of. Giving myself this way, play these games, I'm taking down all my walls, don't let it be in vain, Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Darius. Thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to the rest of the event.
Man, it feels so good. Like that's like I was just back to like, man, it just feels like food. This whole experience is this like, lady, you are a powerful spirit. Like, man, I'm like, like feel like I was just basking in everything that and your energy just emanating and man, like I'm so glad I was here for that. I'm so glad I was here. So thank you, Darius, for doing this so that I can be here in this space to experience that. Damn, yeah, that's amazing. And then, but being back there with an amazing dancer like that, like, look, girl, oh, so amazing. Hey, yes, yes, man. Whew. Like, got to take her on tour, take her with you, All right, so we're gonna glide into our conversation right now. So as we make that shift, so we have two amazing young women who are, like, if you don't know them, you should get to know them because they are doing such powerful things in the South Florida community and beyond. I'm not gonna just reduce them to South Florida. They're doing so many things. I had the pleasure of meeting them in a cohort I was in. Was that 2 years ago now? God damn. First, I'll introduce Miss Christina Francois, who is the Executive Director of the Office of New Americans and the co-founder of the Black Collective. Please make some noise for her. Yes, whichever seat you choose. And then we're gonna introduce the Executive Director of Miami Workers Center, and the founder of Avance Ensemble. That's good. All right. See, Miss Sandra Denise, make some noise. So, again, as always, we want this to be an interactive conversation, an engaging conversation. But they got a lot of knowledge and experience. They're talking about the ideas that center around immigration and issues in this country, and the roots of anti-Blackness that are connected to that, and all of that, and how immigration is not only a issue about immigrants, but is about all of us, especially all of us that look like us. So that's the conversation. We're gonna try to get to some points of action items and stuff where we can get to, because just talking about stuff is cool. It's great to have conversations, but and what? All right. So without, I'm sorry, I was distracted by smell. All right. Without further ado, let the conversation commence.
Where should we start, Christina?
I don't know.
There are many things. Christina and I know each other, have known each other for quite some time now. Yeah. And so we're gonna keep it real. We all know on payroll today, so we're gonna be real honest. I actually want to start with what's actually most pressing, what we're seeing on the news in terms of missionaries being kidnapped and being held for ransom in Haiti, and just really want to just drop it out there. The history of missionaries, specifically white missionaries from the Midwest going into Haiti, and what that's looked like. Actually, I want to throw it to Christina to see if you want to start us off, or do you want me to share my thoughts?
Go ahead.
So I in no way endorse and support any kidnapping. Like, for sure, all of us don't condone any violence. Also, many of us, specifically folks who are from Haiti, has been watching the last few years the political and economic instability that's really growing under the past administration and the administration before that. And it is important to know that the organization of folks who recently got kidnapped, actually, one of their members' staff just went to prison for 30 years. For 30 years for sexual abuse, physical abuse of children in Haiti. And so it is not something that folks talk about, and you won't see it in the mainstream media, but there's a lot of instances of physical, sexual abuse, kidnapping of children. People basically have their children that get kidnapped and are sold or given to families who can't have children in the States. We see that also in the immigration system, where under the Trump administration, there were children being held in cages. Their parents were deported, and these kids who may be 3, 4 years old, who don't remember their parents, are now with other families. So we see also kidnapping of children. And I'll also put it out there, people don't want to talk about it. We also see organs removed from kids, and it's this underground black market that is happening through missionary work under the pretense of the gospel and missionary work in Haiti. So it's also, you're holding multiple thoughts, right? You know that children has also been kidnapped, so for sure, no, children shouldn't be kidnapped. And for a country that you'll talk to Haitians who are like, we haven't gone to see our families. We know it's unsafe in Port-au-Prince. We're not going. But every day, flights of white missionaries from the Midwest go to Haiti in hundreds. Like, something doesn't make sense. And I just want to make sure that we elevate the conversation, because if we only see it through a single lens, we're missing an entire backstory that we have to know as well.
And I think that we can't divorce this current situation with the missionaries, with the long history of, missionaries and their role in slavery and in colonialization. And basically, this is a neo-colonial project, right? Like, this is the continuation of a very long legacy of the white savior. And at the same time, it's taken, I believe there are 13 white Midwesterners who are U.S. citizens to be kidnapped to finally have an acknowledgement of the security situation in Haiti, which is completely deteriorated. However, there are other black U.S. citizen folks in Haiti who have been kidnapped, who have been completely ignored by the embassy. So it's not to say that this is the first time that U.S. citizens this month have been kidnapped in Haiti. So I'm going to take it a step back.
Yes. Can I just say one more thing before we take it a step back? I think that sometimes it's hard to kind of reconcile, why is what's happening in Haiti important for the States? Why should we worry? Haiti's a home country. Why does it matter? Just want y'all to know, my family used to tell me, my family is from the northwest part of Haiti. Haiti and Cuba, in its proximity to South Florida, whatever is happening there, if there's political, economic instability in those countries, in Jamaica, etc., its proximity to America, we understand that it will show up here, right? Because you know that if people are being paid in countries and a majority of your population, lots of us, families come from Bahamas, Jamaica, all this stuff, it squeezes us here, right? We're concerned, we're under pressure. Our economics, where we would be spending dollars here, we're sending back home. So it's not a favor when the U.S. or folks right here are concerned about what's going on. It's actually their issue too, right? So I just want to name that it's not divorce, but it's also of our best interest to be concerned about what our neighbors are going through, as we're all one family. And then the last thing before we really take it back a step, I would say that Haiti has no government.
Thank you.
Haiti has no current government right now. So the president or the person who was claimed to be president at the time was assassinated. There has been no elections. There's no parliament. The judicial system has really been desecrated, right? And so the only person that is there is a prime minister, and the prime minister, the Haitian people, civil societies do not accept him as the prime minister. The only people that's supporting this current prime minister is US, Canada, European powers who see this person as the current person in power in Haiti. What that says to me is that the US, Canada, European powers are the government of Haiti right now. Right? And so let's be clear, the Haitian people didn't elect this person. They didn't go through a normal standard, a normal process to be prime minister right now. So actually, it's the wild, wild west as we've seen it. And we have many thoughts, many concerns, and want to really talk about how we can get to some action.
So on the note that it being the wild, wild west, I think that, if you have lived in South Florida over the last 40 years, you know that occasionally Haiti will come up on the news, or there's an influx of people coming by sea or by land, and so what has happened in the last 20 years. So I'm not gonna do a 200-year history of it. We don't need to do that. But I will say in the last 20 years, there's been two phenomenon that are really, really unique to the history of Haiti. So one is that we have seismic activity. So Haiti is half of an island that is between two tectonic plates. So there is a fault line on the top peninsula and a fault line that runs through the bottom peninsula. This is why we are the country of mountains. And so with the 2010 earthquake and then most recently the August earthquake, we're dealing with environmental conditions that really haven't been seen in at least 100 years. So there's no collective memory of what it is to plan for resilience. Added to that, we have no functioning government who is responsible for disaster response and resiliency and building codes and all of these things, and being able to respond to people's basic needs in a crisis. So there's the environmental factor. And then the second factor is this rising insecurity. And so before 2004, there were no kidnappings in the history of Haiti. I want to say that again. Before 2004, there was zero culture of taking somebody, holding them hostage, ransoming them for money, and potentially releasing them or not, torturing them or not. And so since 2004, really this was born out of a nexus of politically affiliated gangs, which is going to be which is now a theme, personal vendettas, and people who were desperate for money, right? So it is a way to make money. And it's really because originally they were targeting the more wealthy white and or foreign population that was living in Haiti, and what we've seen in the last 20 years is what became a very small problem for a very select group of people has now, a street merchant who's like selling patties on the street is getting kidnapped and they're asking for $50,000 US ransom, knowing full well this person is not going to be able to pay that. And it also is relying on the fact that they know that people are getting remittances from their family members that live in the US. So again, like that tie back into the United States.
I just wanted to add on kind of context, and please stop us, ask questions, because it can be really confusing. It's taken a lot of work for at least me, who's of Haitian descent, to make it make sense. Haiti does not have gun stores. Like we don't manufacture guns. Like how there's gun stores everywhere, you can go purchase guns. Like that does not exist in Haiti in that way. So the guns are coming from somewhere, right? And I think when we talk about kidnapping, people are being taken by gunpoint, we have to step back and say, where are the guns coming from? How do poor people afford ammunition, right? How do poor people afford guns? I mean, I work, and sometimes I go to the range, and I have to purchase ammunition at the range, and I'm like, whoa, this costs a lot of money. Even when you look at the guns, it's like, whoa, this is a lot of money. And you got to ask yourself, how do these people get guns? And so civil societies have been asking and pressuring the U.S. around massive amounts of U.S. manufactured guns showing up in Haiti. They're like, what's going on? We have to put a stop to it. There has to be better foreign policy because we don't manufacture guns, but hundreds of thousands of guns are showing up in poor people's hands. It's not by accident that there's homicides in our black communities here. People who don't have money, people who are trying to, live, trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents. How do our kids afford guns? Where are the guns coming from? It's not by accident that these things are happening, and so I often want to bring up these things that we're all people, and I don't believe the stories that people say about black communities. We're not innately violent. We're not innately wanting to kill each other. Actually, our very culture is that we're a community. We like to commune. We take care of each other. And so there's something that is making that comes up. And for sure, to me, when it comes to Haiti, I don't think we ask enough questions, and we make it so simple when it's so complex.
Yeah, and I think that it's easy to say that, this is, they never have their ish together, or they can't govern themselves, or we can't have a functioning democracy, or all of these things that really discount the fact that we're not operating in a bubble where we're fully autonomous, right? There are so many people that have vested interest in what happens in this small island, and have since the day that they were fighting for independence, and continue to be involved. And it's not just the United States. So a lot of the time there's this focus on yes, U.S. imperialism is real. Yes, the United States is very, very much involved in really the day-to-day functioning of Haiti. But so are many other countries in the region. So we can look at when people do decide to leave the island, as we are both first-generation Haitian American. Again, in the last 20 years before, people would be coming to South Florida directly. But what we saw was an active recruitment of Haitian cheap labor to South America in the last 10 years. And so when people see images of Del Rio and they're wondering why are there 19,000 black folks underneath a bridge crossing the U.S. border into South Texas, number one, it's not new. Number two, we didn't create that road. A lot of people go through that same route, but all of a sudden it becomes a problem when they're black bodies. And then the third is, well, why are they going through South America and Central America? And so really, after the earthquake in 2010, first the Brazilian government actively recruited Haitian labor to help build the stadiums for the World Cup and for the Olympics. And then when when the labor was done and the construction was done, they're like, okay, great, your work permit, because they came with visas and plane tickets. Like they were invited to Brazil. And so once the labor was done, they were like, okay, we're not renewing your work authorization. You have no legal status. And oh, by the way, all the children that you have that were born here are not recognized as citizens. We're not actually going to give you birthright citizenship, even though that is what the law is. And then fast forward to about 2015, Chile is like, oh, well, that worked out really great for Brazil. Look at all the things that these folks were such hard workers, and let's bring them on over here. Because it's a very rural country with a small population and a large landmass, and they needed agricultural help. And so they said, come on over, we're gonna give you a work permit, and look, there's so much land, you'll have your own space, and you'll be able to function in society. And then COVID happened. So there were other economic factors that were already impacting Chile, but really the final straw on why we're seeing this immediate crisis in people leaving by the thousands. There are 150,000 Haitians that live in Chile right now. To give you a context, there are over 800,000 Haitians that are living in the Western Hemisphere. That is not the United States and Canada. So again, this is a whole hemispheric issue. And why does it end up mattering to us is because South Florida is home to the largest population of the Haitian diaspora in the United States. Literally half of of the Haitian diaspora lives in South Florida. And so it is not just these are our families, right? It's also that this is where people know to come to, because there's the network, there's the language access, there are the places that you can work, the places that you can find resources after having, settled in this community for more than 40 years. And so not only are people, we were in Chile and Brazil, but they're also in Colombia, in Panama, and really folks have been going through 11 countries. To end up underneath that bridge, they had to walk through 11 countries. And there are 11 countries that are responsible for the dehumanizing, racist, abusive treatment of Haitians every step along the way.
Yeah, I think that brings up to me, and then I for sure want folks to ask questions. You'll have questions about what's happening in Haiti and why it's important for us to know, is that Christina made us remember that before, let's say, 1990s, you didn't necessarily see the criminalization of immigrants in the way that you see it now. A little bit about that?
Yes. So, a not so fun fact. I was trying to wait.
I'm here for it.
So, before 1990, there was no immigrant detention. We did not put immigrants in jail. Immigrant detention is immigrant jail. Don't let anybody tell you anything otherwise. It is literally the same private prison companies that run detention centers. Oftentimes, in smaller towns, you are literally put in county jail and held there because there is no detention facility. It is mass incarceration. They just happen to be folks that are not born in the United States. And so we see with the influx, the Haitian refugee crisis of the late 80s and 90s, all of a sudden, the United States is like, whoa. We can't just have this massive influx of hundreds of thousands of black folks all of a sudden coming to our country. We're gonna open Guantanamo and we're gonna detain you there. We're gonna suspend any of your rights by international law or by US immigration policy. And we're gonna hold you indefinitely. And that is how Guantanamo gets opened as a detention space. It is also how Chrome Detention Facility is opened. In South Florida alone, there are 4 detention centers, so there's one in Glades. And so we see that 2 policies end up happening. We realize instead of what would normally happen is folks are here, you get an appointment to go in front of a judge and go on your merry way, we are going to hold you in cages. And then the other thing that happens is the creation of parole, of humanitarian parole, where you literally have a check-in with your parole officer. You have an ankle monitor. Sound familiar, right? These same systems of criminalization are being used against Black immigrant bodies, and that ends up, before nobody was really paying attention to that because it was just a Haitian issue, and we see now that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry with tens of thousands of immigrants of all nationalities being in detention all across this country. And it's literally a money-making, an economic development engine for municipalities, for local governments to say, hey, I want a detention center because that's jobs, and we'll get federal dollars coming to our community to be able to cage human beings who are simply coming here for refuge and are not breaking the law. This is literally the process for you to get asylum is you have to physically be in the United States and then declare that you want asylum.
Yeah, that's what.
So they're literally following the law and the process because you can't do the process outside of the United States for asylum. And our immigration system is a civil legal process. It is not a criminal process. So it is the same as any it's entirely civil. It wouldn't even involve the police if we're in any other type of situation.
Yeah, and I guess my last 2 points would be that lots of comments are like, oh, America doesn't just let immigrants in. That's just not what America does. People need to follow the process because we're all in the comments. And I'm losing my mind. I'm like, are you kidding me, y'all? We really believe that America doesn't let other immigrants in? America doesn't like Black immigrants, but all the other immigrants, they show up in the same way that by sea, by the border, take airplanes, they check in, they ask for asylum, and that is the legal process. The legal process for asylum is you have to show up to a port of entry and say that you want asylum. That is not illegal. What was illegal, what was done, is what the Americans did to folks in Del Rio. That was illegal. Because there was a whole thing that this is illegal immigration, but you actually have to show up and ask for asylum to get asylum, right? And again, I got love for all immigrant groups, right? We know there's struggles in Venezuela. We know there's struggles all across our region, all across the world. Countries are going through a lot, right? We just saw Venezuelans open the door. They got the doors, red carpet rolled out, right? And they're here legally. They showed up in the same way. On visas, some of them didn't have visas. They came, and asked for asylum. And because they're maybe wealthy, maybe, don't want to make generalizations, but majority of the folks who can come first come from a different class, right? Because they're fair skinned, they can afford plane tickets. The U.S. made rules so that they can stay and they can operate. And this is not just what we've seen done. In this case, this has been done over and over to Haitians. And my second point would be like, a good friend of mine, Rudy Jambar, he's a professor and a poet. He also says, is there Haiti in you? And I'm always so proud when I think about that poem because it just reminds me about what Haiti has been for people, right? In terms of when black people were still slaves and Haiti got its independence, there are some historians who will show you postcards of Haiti's people in Haiti inviting African Americans to, hey, come be free with us. That if you come to our country, we can be free together. And it was said that African Americans who were enslaved here left and went and moved and had residence in Haiti. The other thing that said, and I love this story, the former prime minister of Haiti gave us this story, and she said there was a ship coming from Africa with enslaved people, that capsized outside of Haiti. And the Haitian people was like, well, black people are free in our country, right? And so the king sent word and was like, we want our property to the then ruler of Haiti. And the Haitian, there wasn't called presidents, then probably emperor, said to them, we do not have property, we have human beings who are free. This is what Haiti was for people. And so when Haitians start to show up here, it's let's start Chrome Detention Center. Let's start to criminalize Haitians. When they show up in Del Rio, we saw the pictures, right? And to me, I'm just like, but again, it was us. It was, and not even just us. It's just like us and our neighbors were like, even our brothers and sisters who were not black. Arms were shared to Colombia, to all these other countries to say, hey, we want y'all to be free too. Right? When the Civil War was happening, there's a statue, if you go to Savannah, of Haitian soldiers who left Haiti to fight side by side to ensure that black people would be free here too. So it just pains me so deeply when we are not asking the tough questions about why is Haiti in this current condition, right? Why did a nation that dared to be free, why is this the consequence of that? And it even hurts me, and I get a little teary-eyed, because my sister asked me, and she says, was it worth it? Was it worth it to be free if this is the result of that? Did you have to be the first, right? Because we all know if you're first siblings, if you're the first of many to go ahead, you get all the pain, all the wounds. And that is just a hard question in the context of our history. Like, was it worth it? I mean, for sure, I can easily say yeah. But for a lot of us, when we look at Haiti right now and all the things that are happening, you're like, my God.
But then at the same time, what keeps me grounded, what keeps me grounded is that people don't want to leave Haiti. Even with all that is said, even with all of the obstacles, even with all of the, Haitians love Haiti so much. And there's so much, ingenuity, creativity, passion, just so much life on the island despite all of that. And there are people who are just living their day-to-day life. And so even as we do see people who are making the decision to leave, there are that many more people that are not giving up on Haiti and are staying on the island, and people who are actually trying to go back, right?
Yeah, and I often like to remind people that also Haiti is not synonymous with Port-au-Prince. What you see is Port-au-Prince. Port-au-Prince is the capital of Haiti. It is lit. It is, they about that life. And there's so many there is 10 state departments in Haiti, basically 10 states. And in the 9 other states, people are living. And for sure, there's poverty, but there's also life, there's culture, there's music. And I tell people, at this point, people are just like hopping over Port-au-Prince to get home.
Exactly.
Because there is home still, and there are people who have no desire to leave the place that they love the most to depart, because they're trying to make it. I had one more, I lost it, but maybe some questions if y'all have it.
Yes. Can you speak a little more about what you believe are the imperialist interests in Haiti right now, and what are those next steps, since there is no government, and there's that debate about whether America should go in and create something versus allowing the people to do so. What are your thoughts on that?
So right now, the United States government primarily is pushing for there to be elections, because they know that there's no government, right? And as they continue to make decisions, you can only go so far without at least having somebody there. And this push is while the previous president changed our entire voting system and issued new voter ID cards that nobody trusts, and only 1% of the population actually received. So logistically, it is not feasible for there to be elections. But, that is one foreign policy goal that, by the end of 2021, when we got 2 months left, that we're supposed to be having elections. So that's on the one hand. In terms of why there is interest, not only are we strategically placed, just a few hundred miles away from Cuba, which, the United States foreign policy is obsessed with Cuba. So we are strategically placed in the region. We also have a lot of natural resources, which most people don't even know about, because there are foreign interests that actually own a lot of it. And there is this thought of, we have this we're living through a Haitian refugee crisis right now, and we just got to get them to stay there. And so if we stabilize the situation, then people won't come here. And I literally was on a call with the Biden administration where they said that. So that's happening. In terms of what can actually be done, is there needs to be a support and centering of the will of the people in civil society in Haiti. Not in the diaspora, as much as I'm in the mix. Don't listen to me. Listening to what people who are living in Haiti are saying, there's a very, very robust non-profit civil society neighborhood group, youth-led groups who have a vision of what they want for their country and who should lead it, and wanting to be involved in the political process, and actually having policy goals and all of these things. But we need to be listening to them.
Yeah, I think for me, Christina alluded to it. I think that Cuba is not in good relationships with America. We know that. For Cuba and Haiti not to be in good relationship, it's just not, it would be very problematic for American foreign policy, right? To have the two closest countries to you outside of Bahamas, and not basically be controlling them. And also Haiti has a history of revolt. And a friend of mine always says that, she's like, y'all got too much revolt in y'all, because Haitians are not going to take it laying down. No.
I mean, there's a general strike happening this week.
Right. So, and also even I was so amazed by a lot of the uprising around George Floyd, and then I would watch the uprising in Haiti, and it'd be like 1 million people in the streets, like this.
Everything shut down.
Shut down.
Ties on fire.
Right. And so I'm just like, there's always a fight back in their spirit, and I think that makes, y'all know, it makes white people uncomfortable. You got a whole country that got to fight back in them, really close to you.
Can I share? I think so. We have this saying that's coupe tête boule caille, which is literally cut your heads off and burn down your houses, and that is literally like that is our like when I get real mad, I'm like, okay, now coupe tête boule caille,
we're really ready to burn it down.
Yes,
if we can't be free.
Literally.
And funny enough,
Say it again. I wanna
burn it down.
Coupe tête boule caille.
I need to get that.
Boule caille. And basically that's what happened to the slave masters. They cut heads off and burned houses. And funny enough, there's this podcast called Revolutions. And it does a deep dive into Haiti. I would check it out. It is good. It was so good to me. And it was just, again, a reminder that they were ready to risk it all for liberation. Like, cities burned down multiple times because they felt like the France was, gaining ground, right? And again, there's never a time I go to Haiti where I'm just like, oh yeah, they got to fight back in them. Like, again, if they didn't, there would be no Haitians. And I say this again about black people here. I think people are astonished that black people are still in existence. Like, for all that we've been through, they're like, they everywhere. Still here? And we're like, we are here, right? And we have a fight back in our spirit. So the proximity, the issues with Cuba, we got to fight back in our spirit. Those are all the issues. America has purposely also tainted some of our economic systems, meaning around farming, really have pushed our hand in terms of
genetically modified
rice, so killed our rice industry. Hanes, who else is in Haiti?
Donna Karen,
Fruit in the Loom, fruit in the Loom. A lot of those industries, the shirts are made in Haiti. Right now, I think they say Haitians make $2 a day in terms of minimum wage, not hour, $2 a day. And when the Haitian government said they were going to increase the minimum wage,
the US said no.
Hanes, Fruit of the Loom was up in uproar. And they basically said, we're going to pull all this business. And what people are like having to reconcile, you want $2 or no dollars. And that's just like a hard negotiation. But these are the positions that some of these superpowers put smaller countries. These are the positions that they put us in. What do they say about us? They don't negotiate with terrorists. I'm like, when you're killing industries in people's countries, what do Haitians want? They want jobs. They want to be able to take care of themselves, right? And when you're wanting to, and I think it was even $1 raise. It was, and American-based companies were like, we're willing to pull out the entire industry for $1 raise, right? And so these are the pressures. And to me, it's just like, they got to hear from us. They got to hear from more than Haitians. They got to hear from all black people. Because for sure, if they're doing it to us, they're going to do it to all of us, right? Even folks here, you know how many people, not Haitians, got deported to Haiti this last round? Because it's not only Haitians on the border. People from Africa,
yep,
from Cameroon.
From Cameroon, from Côte d'Ivoire, like even, black Venezuelans, like black Cubans.
Wasn't asking any questions. Y'all got to go too.
They were literally put on a plane to Haiti without being Haitian, and they're stuck there.
Yeah, so like these are the kind of like human rights violations that
there's zero accountability. I think for me, I mean that's what like gets me going is the accountability. There are 7,000 people out of the 19,000 that are still in Customs and Border Patrol custody, and we have no idea where they are. They're not able to have access to counsel because people are actually entitled to a lawyer or a translation. So that literally we do not know where they are.
And they gotta hear from us. That's not okay. Any other questions? I know that was a lot. It's heavy. Oh, you got a question, dear? Oh, that's such a great question. We really would like to know the answer to that.
So basically,
because all black people look like, I'm joking.
They couldn't tell us apart. Yeah. So they were just like, oh, you all look the same. You're going to the same place, even though you're not from the same place. Because it was the easier thing to do than to ask actual questions and have a conversation with people. They just were like, you all have to go.
And there are like hundreds and thousands of Haitian attorneys. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that we weren't given a shot after this administration said they were friendly to our communities, right? We weren't given a shot to at least bring our resources to help, navigate folks, right? Let's see who's from Haiti, who's not. Can we get some interpreters, right? Can we make sure that, can they at least say if they're in immediate danger? If your families are being kidnapped and you just lost your entire house, your whole community is down because of the earthquake, we know that people leave when their communities are shot. So many people left New Orleans after the hurricanes. Like us in South Florida, we understand disasters, right? People move around when disasters happen. This is not news to us. People left Homestead after Andrews and never moved back, right? We know you have to move when your communities are destroyed. America acting like this is like first time this has ever happened is like news to me. Another question? She's everything, y'all. Yeah. Please. Don't let them mute her in school. She needs to.
Well, so there are, so you know how there are like regular police officers? There are also police officers that deal with immigrants, so people who aren't like born from America. And so when the people came to Texas, the immigration police were the people that they encountered, and they were the ones who made the decision. Well, they were the ones who enforced the decision. But really, the person who makes the decision is the President of the United States, Joseph R. Biden. So the ultimate person who gets to make all of the decisions on who can stay here and not, and how long you can stay, and like what the process is, and like making sure that people get to see a lawyer and you have people who speak the language that people speak, is the president.
So what's your take on the Biden administration in the current climate of immigration and what's happening?
They've made my life miserable for the past 6 months. So
can we go there, Christina? Because Christina and I are like embarrassed.
We should go there, Christina. We should go there.
Because we were putting our life at risk during COVID, knocking doors,
voter
fighting with people online.
Trying to tell people, oh no, but it's really gonna be better than what we have, and the what is it, the least of the lesser of two evils, and all of this stuff. And this man basically on day one. So on day one, he's like, okay, here's this immigration bill that's gonna quote unquote fix our immigration system, and never did anything again. So didn't put in the work to make sure Congress passed it. Actually further criminalized Black immigrants in the bill. So it was already a bad bill in the first place. And he was just like, I care about Build Back Better, and I care about COVID vaccinations. And I promised the immigrant rights movement that we got your back, and I promised Black folks I got your back, and I came and I kneeled at the Little Haiti Cultural Center. And I got your back, and I am a friend of Haiti.
Yeah, that's what his words.
I am a friend of Haiti. And this year, I'm just gonna say, this year in Haiti, within 4 months, you have massive protests against the president who's overstayed his term. You have, and we engaged him, ignored. He's like, nope, he's still valid. You'll have elections later on this year, even though he's already passed his term, fine. Then you have the assassination of said president, and he's like, it'll be fine, just have this prime minister dude, don't worry, things are okay. Then you have an earthquake, which literally impacted 4 states. 4 out of the 10 states in the country are hit with this earthquake. And it's not, we didn't see massive numbers like we did in 2010, but still 2,000 people did die. And the structural ground, is not stable enough to rebuild on.
That's terrible.
For 4 states. It's fine. I had a Southcom meeting, and Southern Command was like, we have a interagency thing, and we have a little carrier boat that's just gonna be helicoptering in some rice and beans for folks. And it'll be great. It'll be great. And then we have people getting whipped in South Texas. And it's fine. This is not an issue. And we have a really humane immigration system. And we are deporting people even as our own embassy has not been open for 2 years because of the security situation, where you have 2 different people in his administration who quit with very public letters saying this is like the Wild Wild West and we can't even leave the compound with the U.S. Marines, okay? Like, U.S. Marines got jacked for earthquake relief supplies, leaving Port-au-Prince to make it to the affected area. Like, the Marines, right? The United States military with all of its might. But it's okay for Haitians to be able to live in that situation, and it's okay because advocates are asking for too much. You should be happy that you're not Donald Trump. That's what we got.
Yeah, all the things, and I keep getting reminded by a friend of mine. He's like, sometimes he's like, if I have to pick between, and I know we don't like it, but it's real, because there are people out to kill us, literally, right? All the policies are really out to take us out, right? And he says, what are we gonna expect from these people? Shame on me, right? Shame on me that I actually thought that we don't exist in a white supremacist world, that President Biden would go the furthest on immigration. He wasn't, right? That's just not the world we live in. And we just gotta be very honest about our expectations with these folks. I hope that we can run our own people who not only just look like us, but really love black people and want our liberation, right? And when we do that, then probably we can be like, actually, they're gonna do something. These other folks, nah, they're like the difference between cancer and diabetes, right? You're still gonna be sick, right?
The outcome's not gonna be so good. But I will say that what we can do is still apply pressure.
Yeah.
And this is where having accountability and like not being, sorry, I keep on looking this way, and not being complacent. Like, we actually need to be in their face and say, you said you were going to do X, Y, and Z. I want to mail him a picture of him kneeling in the Little Haiti culture. Like, that is I see that and my blood boils, because everybody who does voter education and like civic engagement work, like, it is very, very, very hard to convince people who had never seen progress and have never seen any promise actually come to fruition to make that extra effort to like show up and show out and to finally do that. And what material conditions have changed for our communities on any level besides being able to get the COVID fix?
So this has been amazing. So as we transition, what happened? Who got a question? Got a question?
We're gonna keep it short.
Yeah. So, with her question, but I want to, you were mentioning apply pressure, and so as we close, we'll get Connie's question, but as we close, what can we as us people, everybody here, and our people that we know, like what specific tangible things might we be able to do, in an effort to make this thing a better thing? So Connie, go ahead.
Well, my question kind of goes along with that. I was just going to say, first off, thank you so much for sharing the information, because there's so much that we don't know. And I'm a teacher. I'm a high school teacher. And so my mind's already running. I'm like, how can I share this in class? And, a lot of times you have to think of creative ways to kind of incorporate things into, I call it the colonizer curriculum. But,
right.
So I focus a lot on, like, Black history and some of the other cultures, but I have a lot of Haitian students. So can you recommend like some books or resources, something that I could use as like an anchor text to talk about these things where I can say, well, we read this book. So I'm just looking for some other type of resources, or so, like he was just saying, like Darius was saying, what can we do? I'm basically asking, what can I do as a teacher? Because I feel like the young people are aware of these things and they're talking about them, and the conversations will happen, a little bit.
So I like multimedia options. So, and everybody loves video content. So PBS, and I can send this to Darius. PBS did a really great special on the current, like how did we end up underneath the Del Rio Bridge. So it actually goes through like the recruitment of people to South America, the treatment, the journey, everything like that, and what happens when they finally do get to the border and a little bit of the immigration system. And then Vice News also did a really good special about it, and it's like 30 minutes. There's like a 15-minute version and then a like 30-minute version. So I'll definitely share those links. And in terms of pressure, there are petitions. There's Twitter. I like to make the feed a little spicy, and actually call out Joe Biden for not fulfilling any of his promises. So you can definitely do that. And then their midterms are coming up. So if you are a voter and you do use your power, it's time to hold people accountable and say, hey, Frederica Wilson, hey, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, what are y'all doing? And do you want my vote or not? Because your majority is very, very slim.
That's right.
So if you'd like to stay in power, maybe you gotta follow through on some things before November.
I'll just plug Revolutions, that podcast. There's also a book called The Black Jacobins that I think is phenomenal. Haitian history is complex, so when you think about resources that are like quick and well packaged for Haitian students, it could be a little difficult. We're also long-winded. It's a part of our culture. We like to talk.
You like to talk.
There's a news source, one more that I will say, but most of their content is in Haitian Creole. But if you press them, they'll also release in English. It's called Aibo Post.
Yeah,
Ayibbo Post. Aibo Post. And they're phenomenal journalists based in Haiti. People forget that all the things are happening in Haiti. And of course, they're experts. There's doctors, there's nurses, there's journalists. They're professionals in Haiti. And it's always like my honor to tell people, be careful, because sometimes you're inundated with news about Haiti and you forget that kids go to birthday parties. People are living, and they're experts in Haiti. Pressure. My pressure is the people that I can vote for. The silence is deafening from our U.S. Congress people in South Florida. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Frederica did a press conference. Thank you very much, but press conferences don't do anything. I remember really quickly, Rashida, part of the squad, Congresswoman Rashida met President Biden on the tarmac about her people. Like, he got off the plane and she was like, actually, we need to talk about Palestine. Because she was that disappointed in the administration. Where are our advocates? The people that we vote for every day, every year, year after year, making $175,000 a year. Congress folks, right? Some of us never seen that. We didn't even know they made that much. And they don't think they need to tell us where these 7,000 people who are missing, where they at, right? And so I would call their offices. I would call them every day. I would tweet them every day. We want to know where these people at.
And just really quickly, so there are folks, and this is what my Office of New Americans had on, there are folks that have been granted parole that are making their way from South Texas to South Florida and do have like housing needs and clothes, like, because they're literally released with the clothes on their back, nothing. And unfortunately, they don't qualify for government assistance.
For that wet foot, dry foot.
Yeah. So they don't get the support services that some immigrants get. So
they didn't do the bootstraps, those immigrants?
Oh no,
Okay.
they yeah.
That's a whole different story.
They get.
There's different types of immigrants, y'all. Okay.
But really quick, just know that, and I'll share this information too. We are trying to help with identifying housing for folks, as well as baby supplies, and there are a lot of pregnant women that were released. So just goods for them.
All right, cool. All right, give it up. Thank you so much. Just also their organizations, Avance Ensemble and the Black Collective. Make sure you follow them and what they got going on, because a lot of this information, a lot of these resources, a lot of the things that they are doing within the community, it's right there, so you can connect with them in that capacity. All right, so we ain't done yet. So we're gonna transition into something that you about to enjoy. You're gonna have a good time right now. All right, so we're gonna do some movement. So hopefully, if you got to get up and stretch a little bit, shake something a little off a little bit, you do that. So I'm gonna invite Miss Shanna L. Woods up to the front so she can start to make this happen. Here you go.
Greetings, beautiful people. How y'all feeling? Good.
Great.
Woo. Y'all sure? I'm gonna try that one more time. Greetings, beautiful people. How y'all feeling? Good. Oh, that's a little bit better. That's better. So I am Shanna L. Woods. I'm the creator of a workshop called The Art of Acceptance. And The Art of Acceptance talks about, embracing who you are right now in this moment, healing through dance, movement, and meditation. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of all the things that we've done today. We're gonna honor ourselves, honor our ancestors, honor our lineage and legacy. And I'm gonna grab my notebook and I'm gonna pass out some cards for you all. So before y'all leave, I'm gonna give y'all an affirmation card. Cool? Man, it's everything. Like, we so dope. I get super excited just thinking about like who we are and who we be in creation. And I also think about like, if you were sick at home and you started laughing, then your mom be like, you ain't sick. And it's like, it's okay. It's okay for us to be both and be all the things at one time. There are many times. There's an ant. It's like, so there are many times when there could be some shame around ice cream. Just turned into a big kid. I'm gonna come back. When there are many times when we may feel shame or guilt around feeling what it is that we feel. And anytime that we have those moments, I just want you to take a breath and know that it's okay. It's okay to be where you are. And then also lineage and legacy. What are we passing on to our children? If you do not have children right now in this moment, at some point we all are in contact with children. So what are those things that we hold dear to us? What are those rituals that we want our children to know about? And what are those things that we don't want them to experience? The things that we got from our parents, our grandparents, their parents, their parents. What rituals do we want them to continue to practice? And what are those rituals that we're like, we're gonna leave that with me. I want it to stop here. All right. So we're all going to get into that open space and we're going to create a circle, because this is a cipher. And a circle is like one of my favorite shapes because then we get to see each other. Cool? All right, so head on over and I'll meet you there.
Let me check.
White supremacy, absolutely. Good. Say again. Self-doubt, absolutely. Hunger, absolutely. Pessimism. So think about what you want to receive today. What path you want to clear today. What you want to keep with you today. What you want to dismiss. No longer invited. Beautiful. And now we're gonna high five God. Yeah.
repeat after me. My body.
My body
Is not your body.
is not your body.
It's mine.
It's mine.
All mine.
All mine.
My body.
My body
Is not your body.
not your body.
It's mine.
It's mine.
All mine.
All mine.
Alright, so every time you say something different, I'm going to do it with somebody else. This is a reminder that your body is yours. Yes, it's not like anyone else's. It's never going to be like anyone else's. And it's yours and it's beautiful. It was uniquely and especially designed for you. Everything about it. Again, my body.
My body
Is not your body.
is not your body.
It's mine.
It's mine.
All mine.
All mine.
My hair.
My hair
Is not your hair.
is not your hair.
It's mine.
It's mine.
All mine.
All mine.
My eyes.
My eyes
Not
not your eyes.
They're mine.
They're mine.
All mine.
All mine.
My back.
My back
Is not your back.
not your back.
It's mine.
It's mine.
All mine.
All mine.
My feet.
My feet
Are not your feet.
are not your feet.
They're mine.
They're mine.
All mine.
All mine.
My shoulders.
My shoulders
Are not your shoulders.
are not your shoulders.
They're mine.
They're mine.
All mine.
All mine.
My hips.
My hips
Are not your hips.
are not your hips.
They're mine.
They're mine.
All mine.
All mine.
One more time with so much power. Remembering that your body is a weapon of beautiful and powerful management of anything that you don't want to be no longer deserves to be here. Yes. My body.
My body
Is not your body.
is not your body.
It's mine.
It's mine.
All mine.
All mine.
Clap it up, clap it up.
Thank you, and thank all of y'all. It's been amazing. I appreciate each one of you. Every aspect of it was great. So take all this with you and we'll change the world.
Oh, mama is a rock. Mama is a rock woman. Mama is a rock. Mama is a rock.